Welcome to Love You Bro Podcast. I am your host, Jude Devella. I'm down here with my brother, Jaime Devella.
What it do?
What's up, brother? You good?
Super Bowl week,
good?
man.
Man, look at that sweater, man. I love that throwback.
Throwback.
I love that throwback, bro.
Marty used to patrol the sidelines in this thing.
Yes, sir. I love that, bro. I just noticed that right now. We got a little bit of the new gear out, fellas. We got some people. My boy Jay Sizzle takes care of us on the hats and stuff. I got some Super Bowl hats. Drip. Got some new drip coming in. Got the new lid with the 59 logo on it. But hey, before we start our show tonight, I want to just give a couple shout outs. One's kind of a little bit of a somber one. A guy that I grew up, he was like a little brother to me, kind of playing basketball, playing fast pitch softball. We got some bad news this morning, but just kind of a shout out to Brian Escarino, his family. We lost him this morning.
Rest in peace, Floss.
Unexpected, man. Rest in peace, Flossy. Much love to Jason and his family.
For sure.
We're thinking about you guys and keeping you guys in our prayers, man. We know
100%.
Both brothers would send me texts and stuff that they were watching our podcast and everything. So it was unexpected and
great family, man.
Been
a lot of fun times at the ballpark or the gym,
the gym or softball, whatever. Yeah. A lot of good times with him, and it's been a little tough on the heartstrings today. So shout out to his family. Jason, we're thinking about you and your family, brother. On another note, today, man, this Monday, February 3rd today, is our father's 93rd birthday. So Pops turns 93 today, man. I've seen all the people kind of sending out love and sending them stuff on Facebook. We're going to do a little Super Bowl party at our house on Sunday. So we will do a little birthday party for Dad.
Yeah.
Turning 93. And doing what we get to do on this thing, part of the sentimental thing, and we talked about this before we ever even started a podcast. We spend so many hours on the phone and talking about sports and really, the Chiefs and every year talking about what it would mean to us with the team winning something, winning a Super Bowl, and as we start talking about these, it just seems so surreal. It seems so surreal because, 50 years, you guys. I was talking to somebody the other day in part of our primetime transportation, and he was an older guy that was like, man, because I remember when, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl in, 69, 70, and I was like, you weren't even born yet. I was born in June, and the Chiefs won the Super Bowl IV in January in New Orleans, won 23-7.
Stenerud, field goals.
Stenerud, 3 field goals.
Matter of fact, they played at Tulane University, where that's our practice. Where we're practicing.
That's Tulane. That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. But you guys, I was talking to, and matter of fact, I was talking to Dirk Tate over at the Chiefs about this, and I told Dirk,
shout out D Tate,
yeah,
my guy.
I want to bring this album cover, and you guys, production team, social media team, I got to show you guys this album. It is an album after the Chiefs won Super Bowl IV. And it's of the actual radio broadcast of the game and stuff. They got play-by-play calls and stuff on there. But the cover of this album cover, it's got 4 pictures. In the lower left-hand corner is a picture with our mom and dad, our oldest brother, our sister, and our other brother Victor
at the parade.
And they have a sign up that says "Down with Lombardi." And it was because back in that time, the AFL, NFL were merging and everything. And, so people hated Lombardi because he always thought the AFL was so much better. And thanks to the Hunt family, man.
Yeah. No, and that's badass because one of the pictures is of actual game footage. And it's obviously all in black and white. Yeah. One's with Dawson on the phone with the president. And then one's, our family, which is crazy. And so, what's crazy is Dad started out with, sitting in the old Wolf Pack at the old Metropolitan Stadium on Brooklyn.
Right.
So then, we came over and obviously have our seats were considered legacy seats. But Dad started on the opposite side.
Yeah, because that's where Hank Stram was.
And then he moved over to the side that we're currently in. Right. And, it's crazy. And, I like to share it because people think, you're full of shit. They think you're lying. But essentially, back in there's 2 funny stories I want to share, but one of the main ones, about Dad is his birthday. So Brother Bob got to be friends with Tim Collier.
Yep, Tim Collier.
So Tim Collier was a cornerback. So I want to touch on him as well. But Tim Collier, he was a D-back number 44. Yep. Did we go to Temple? Is that right?
I can't remember where Tim came out of.
So brother Bob went to San Francisco to watch a game. Sir. And he came back and told Dad, he goes, it's the craziest shit. He goes, these people tailgate. They have make all this food and make all this stuff. So he was like, we need to start doing it. So once again, I wish there was footage. I wish there was something other than pictures. But Dad was one of the original tailgaters. And obviously, he's a 1%er of 1%ers of Chiefs fans that have had tickets as long as he has. Yep. So that is crazy that we started tailgating back in the day. When once again, they would always say, people would walk by going into the game and look at them like, what are they doing? This is crazy shit.
They looked at our family like we were crazy.
Yeah, that was that tailgating. Yeah. So, also, Dad would say that, back in the day, there was 2 sections over. You could hear conversations because there was 15,000 people in the 78,000 seat stadium. Yeah. That was just crazy. But obviously they had a horrible product. Right. And I remember, Dad, when he was he was just more versed and but he was obviously watching, consistently. We went to every game, no matter how, and we tailgate and we do all that shit. But like Paul Wiggins ran the fucking wing tee in the NFL. That's unheard of. It was bad for so long. So that's really cool. But a funny story, a cool story is, Mom and Dad had, Devella's Mexican food on Johnson Drive. Yep. And they had the restaurant in the 70s. And a lot of the Chiefs would go there and have, on Thursdays, kind of like the same format, which they had like a night that they would go team meals or do this and that they would come to. And so Dad told Tim Collier once again, I want you to pick off Kenny Stabler. And what does he do? Opening drive or second drive, he picks off Ken Stabler, comes to the sideline to give Dad the ball, and Dad's had a few pops. Dad would have a few pops.
He was so drunk he couldn't see the ball coming upstairs.
He said he saw 3 and did his arms like this when Collier was throwing it up, and didn't catch it. And Brother Vic, I think, picked it up for him. But my Dad's got a ball from Ken Stabler that was picked up.
He's got a ball from Stabler and Jim Zorn. Yeah, Collier picked both of them off that year. But you guys, that's where our family goes back to, like we said, back to 1965. Cool thing yesterday was with part of our primetime transportation, I'm driving Derrick Noddy to the facility yesterday. So guys had to be there. They flew out to New Orleans yesterday. So as I'm driving Noddy, I'm telling Noddy about our history and about 65 and where Dad started the tickets and not to say we were like the original tailgaters. Nobody else was doing it. But I'm telling you guys, what Jamie just said, there was a handful of people. Like there were some other guys that were next to us. Great guys, man. Clarence,
Cherry,
Joe, Cherry, and remember Joe. Joe was in the wheelchair, had diabetes. But these guys were the coolest guys. They'd be out there tailgating with us. But it was just a handful of people, and we'd park against the curb. There was no handicap spaces there. We'd park against the curb. We had our tailgate out there. Every week, my brother Bob would be on the phone with my dad on Tuesday or Wednesday, picking out what they were going to make that day. There was a time when if you go back on some of our Love You Bro, some of our social media, you'll see a pic of me with Clark Hunt last week. Mm-hmm. And I told Clark that there was a time when he was doing the same thing his dad used to do. Lamar used to walk the parking lots and talk with all the fans and everything. And so Lamar did that one day. And as they were coming by, Casey Starr was doing a deal. And they asked our dad, like, what are you making? And my dad out there at the stadium with the grills and stuff, but he was making Mexican chili, beans, rice, tortillas, like all the homemade Mexican food. And Lamar was like, he was thrown back by just like how cool this is that this family's coming out here and making their traditional Mexican food out here in the park. It's not just hamburgers and hot dogs. Yeah. So it was in the Star. The Star put and they did 20 people. They went around the stadium that day and picked out 20 people. And then the Star, they put whatever their recipe was. Yeah. So they had our dad's Mexican chili recipe in the Kansas City Star for this is what the DeVellas cook on Sundays.
Totally. And it was really cool. And then, after the game, he would fire it up back up, man. Uh-huh. He would fire, the minivan back door, the hatch would come open. He'd bring out the grill and do it all. Do it all over again. And that was just, as a little kid. I remember being as a little kid. And I remember, Mama would say that we would go on the way because I didn't have a ticket and buy me a ticket at QT. Yeah, Lamar Huddle Club. And so Mom said, she goes, your dad carried you in with your legs dangling down.
We bought us $10 Huddle Club tickets, man. But we'd be in the end zones, you guys. There'd be nobody out there. We'd be in the end zones playing tag up and down the flipping end zone because there'd be nobody in the stands. There'd be 30,000 people there. Do you remember the guy? There was this guy that moved to Kansas City. He wasn't a Chiefs fan. He would go out.
He's from New York. He was a Giants fan.
Yes, and this this guy would blow lighter fluid, bro. He would come to our tailgates, and they're like, "Oh, this is our friend,
like Ogre
Jerry
from fucking Revenge of the Nerds."
And they're like, "Come on, Jerry, do it again." And it'd be like maybe 20 minutes before kickoff, and he'd be lit, and he'd get that. He'd tell him, "Nick, give me that can of lighter fluid." He's like, "Dude, Jerry, you can't do that. You're gonna swallow that. It's gonna go." And your thing goes, "No, I do it all the time up in New York." He gets that can of lighter fluid and get a big lighter, and he'd blow it up in the air. I mean,
huge fireballs.
My mom and our aunts, everybody would get so shook. They'd be like, "This dude is like nuts." But I mean, some of the stuff that we used to go through.
Back in the day, and I remember, going back, as we're leading up to the Super Bowl, but back in the day we're going, and I remember always being so incredibly freaking scared of Crazy George.
Yeah, man.
He would bang that drum. He would and yell, and there wouldn't be enough people that I would get scared.
Yeah.
Crazy George.
Because he'd come right there, but he's
and wore that number one. He has some cut off jean shorts. Crazy George was all over the place. He was with the A's. He was with the Oilers. He was all over the place. But anyway, so shout out, Dad. Happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dad, man. Happy
90th. To watch with you on Sunday.
Happy 93rd, Pops. We can't wait to celebrate with you on Sunday. And hopefully we're making history on Sunday. We're going to get into all that right now, but hopefully we're making history. So that's part of me, like bringing up just all the nostalgia of this stuff, guys, is like the stuff that we get to go through and what we're doing right now. Holding our Love You Bro podcast that we get to do together, and the stuff we've shared through all the years of growing up. It's priceless. And I think it's stuff that we'll look back on later and appreciate so much more, all the stuff that we get to do. I mean, from growing from that, bro, to growing into the primetime assistants and the primetime and transportation, all of the players that we've met, we've worked for, coaches, regimes, assistant coaches, front office people. I mean, Brother Bob, we lost our brother Bob back in 1999. He's 46. And our brother Bob was such a huge part of all this. And I know he smiles down as he watches on all this now. But I mean, him and Cousin John up there, just high five and look at all the guys we get to work with.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tom Doyle.
Yesterday I pull in to the facility to drop off Derrick. And all the guys are getting there. Everybody had to be there by 11:30 and check all their, their bags in and everything, get on the buses, head to the airport. So as you're getting there, like everybody's pulling in, man. Like, Jay Reed's pulling in, Kels is pulling in, Mahomes is pulling in, Chris Jones. I mean, just all the dudes, man. Juwan Taylor, they're just all kind of showing up around the same time. So everybody's kind of unloading stuff. And you just see guys look like, you see this look in their eyes of just, it wasn't like, hey, we're going on this fun trip, or hey, we're going on this. It was just kind of that, let's go. Like, let's fucking go. Chris Jones is yelling at these guys like, let's fucking go. Let's go. And they're just looking at each other, like the look in their eyes is like, we're not done. Like, we're not finished.
No.
And that's the cool stuff behind the scenes that we're going to be a part of with some of the work that we do and being around the guys. Even talking to Charles yesterday, Charles is like, everything you see on his social media right now that he posts about last year. He's like, here I come. I had a suspension at the beginning of the year, came and played really well, great down the stretch, had a big strip sack against Lamar, and then tears his ACL. Guy doesn't get to play in the Super Bowl against the team that let him go, the 49ers. So he was crushed, and he was thinking to himself, why is this happening to me? But, talking to him yesterday, he just knows full circle the work he's put in. So super excited for Charles, man.
When they interviewed, I think it was Nate Taylor. Shout out Nate Taylor. I love Nate Taylor. He's great. But when he was interviewing Killer Trav, and he was talking about Kareem Hunt, Trav was like, I'm kind of getting emotional talk about it because a kid that made some mistakes and a kid that getting another chance and going to play in the Super Bowl. It's awesome. So there's a lot of kids, and they asked, Coach Reed after the game, they were like, did you go? And he goes, I made it a point to go, all the guys that have not been to a Super Bowl, and he goes, I get so excited for those guys, D-Hop, Marquis Brown, the guys that have not been there and get the opportunity to play in this game and play in, what could, and there's a meme right now. It's not even a meme. It was a viral clip last year, and it was Kelsey, it was Jones, it was 15, and Mahomes like, man, I want 3. It never been done
on stage.
But he said it again on stage. But this was, he was like, they were there like conversing, like, celebrate. But he was like, man, I want 3. No one's ever done it. I want 3. And it's like,
but that one clip that you see on stage, like it wasn't like they're interviewing him. They were getting ready to start doing all the stuff on the stage, and he kind of had his back turned, but Jones and Kelsey were up there, and they were like, man, we're getting ready to get to whatever. And that's when he looked at Kelsey, and he was like, I want 3. I want to come back. They hadn't even accepted their stuff or accepted their trophy from last year and accepted everything. And he was like, I want to do something that's never been done before.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it on the stage.
And it's going to be, I mean, to me, you know, it's always tougher, more difficult. And this is, you know, on paper, the best team, you know, that they have faced in this run. I mean, Philly is absolutely
for sure
loaded at every level. They're loaded. I mean, you know,
defense,
it was funny because this morning I was listening and they had some clips because the local guys here that do radio, they like to, you know, check in on what the Philly, know, media radio guys are doing. And this moron in Philly was like, I think Sirianni can outcoach Andy Reid. And I'm like, there's
on where?
On a Philadelphia local radio. You like a local radio. And I was like, the one thing that's not going to happen is that douchebag out coaching Coach Reid. I mean, Sirianni, he's a clown. He's a clown.
Well,
and I think
I feel bad you call him a douchebag because I was going to invite him on the show. He probably won't come on now.
Fuck him. I wouldn't want him on here anyway, man. But anyway,
Coach Sirianni, man, nothing personal, pal. But I don't think we're going to be
when he's
inviting you on
yelling
this.
at Chiefs fans like that. He was such a dickhead leaving the field last year. I mean, there's one thing to like win and win with that, but in a million years, could you ever see Andy Reid walking off and like, I don't hear you now, Buffalo fans. I don't hear you now. Shut up. Shut up. But all that nonsense.
But doesn't that remind you of like someone who's been there before and someone who hasn't been there before?
Yeah, and not to say he's not a good coach. He's, you know, he's a good coach.
He's
and
done a hell of a job in Philadelphia.
You know, he
it's
is
the second Super Bowl he's been to, bro.
He has.
He's
and
done a
his
hell of a
roster's
job.
loaded. And like I said, everywhere, you know, and right now it's like all fans. Like, well, I mean, that's what we are, fans. It's like everything is like Phil. I mean, Chiefs got quarterback, and like we discussed last week, every other position other than kicker is Eagles. And it's like you break it down, it's like, you know, I guess on paper you're not going to, and you know, you're not going to argue like, well, I don't know, they really do.
But this is what gets me about that, bro. I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm sitting here every single time I feel like in this last run of the last two Super Bowls, and we can go and say this because we can see this and we can go point this out and point to statistics and stuff last year. I mean, it started the year before, but I'm talking about just the last year into this year. We started the playoffs off and we played Miami. They're like, okay, they're probably going to beat Miami at home, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as we went to Buffalo, none of the national people said we were going to go and beat Buffalo. No. They're like, they can't go and beat Buffalo in Buffalo. Yeah. Then we beat Buffalo and they're like, well, you know, they've got Andy and they've got Mahomes and Kelsey and Jones. And then they're like, but they're not Baltimore, you know, Lamar's done this, that Ravens defense, you know, the coaching stuff, but they didn't like us, so you know that.
But there are certain people that do, and so with that being said, we all hated the Patriots. But what I'm saying now is like two of the biggest platforms or two of the most watched platforms on like every day, right?
Right.
And so back in the day, ESPN, all of them were Jets fans. And so people hated the Jets and people wanted to root against like the Jets because Jets, Aaron Rodgers. But now you got Nick Wright. Shout out Nick Wright.
Man. Shout out Nick Wright. We'd love to bring Nick Wright on sometime.
And then Danny Parkins, that are such huge Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
And I love Nick, but he's so incredibly smug about it. And it's like,
he's almost too smug.
No,
about
I love it though. Cause he never wavers. You never see him rattled. You never see him. He just, he's matter of factly. And I love it because he is very smug and I enjoy it. And it's like, cause guys like Stephen A, guys like huge personalities are super smug regarding their takes and what teams they like and who they support. So I love it. But once again, if you're watching it every single day, which most sports fans do, you just start to hate it. It's like this, that.
I get it. But what I'm saying is if we went back and we made receipts of what people said and you went to ESPN shows, you went to NFL Network shows, and you went to all the big people that everybody kind of listens to throughout the country. And I just still feel like because we're in camp, and I'm not saying that we get no respect. That's not what I'm saying.
No, yeah,
but But what I'm saying, bro, we can go and pick out. I am going to pick out. If I gave you a list of 20, more so than not, at least 70 to 80% of those people have picked the Bills last year at Buffalo, picked the Ravens last year at Baltimore, and picked the Niners.
Yeah.
There was a handful of people that said the Chiefs will beat this game and win this game, and a little bit more on the Niners. But everything I heard, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because you talk about right now, you see this Philadelphia, this roster, and all I hear is like, well, they have a better defensive line, they have a better secondary, they have better linebackers, they have better running backs, you guys have a better quarterback and a better coach. And it's like, okay. So we've won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And so the same thing last year. They picked against Buffalo, picked against Baltimore, picked against the Niners. Then they had to go and sit there and watch us get another trophy. And then it was like, okay, I know people are on overload of like whatever, Chiefs fatigue or whatever it is. Whatever.
It's jealousy, and it's like, you know, and I said, I get all that, and you know, because it's easy, like, hey, they're not gonna do it, and they're not gonna do it this year, and I know are not gonna beat Philly, but it's guaranteed. I would be shocked, and I mean shocked, if Philly blows us out 31-14 or something. So it's good. Now I won't be shocked if Philadelphia wins,
no matter what.
But it's the same. I think it's going to be another one possession game. That's just how it was.
But we won 17 one-score games in a row.
So the ones that we've won, we've been down 10-point double digits, which is crazy. Which is absolutely crazy.
Which I don't like at all.
No,
makes me want to vomit.
I think, and you know how I get pissed and like, but I think it's going to be, you know, for them. I think it's going to be, they have to, you know, I mean, obviously, if they can, here's my narrative. And it's if they can put Philly in second and longs, third and longs, they win the game. If Philly has the sticks, second and 2, third and 1, the Philly will win. Okay. So we have to put them, because they're not as efficient, and Jalen Hurts is not going to beat you with huge plays. Not to say that we won't get beat.
He's a great quarterback.
Yeah, not to say we won't get beat downfield, right. But I just don't want to see them sell out early on against the run and get beat deep. Have that in your back pocket and try to win those battles. And it is going to be down to offense and defensive lines. Philly's offensive line is one of the best in football. We got a great defensive line. One of the best in football. Yeah, and we got a great defensive line. So who wins that battle? But if we can get off the field with not blitzing a crazy amount or run blitzing, because if you look at some of these, not even some of them, some of Saquon's biggest runs on this tear he's been on is when they stack the box or overload the box.
Yeah, he makes two people miss. He pops through one hole, one guy misses, and he's gone. And Jay Reed's not going to run down Saquon Barkley.
No,
I love Jay Reed, but he's not going to do that.
No, so that's like to me, like I said, if we can get them in, you know, for the majority, or not even majority, but half to 3/4 in second and longs, and make him beat you. And if he does beat you, if Jalen does beat you, then he does. Right. But I don't think he's a guy that's going to beat Mahomes.
I honestly think, and it goes back to even last week we talked before the Bills game, I told you, I said, as long as they keep 15 upright and they don't turn the ball over, I just don't feel like there's anybody out there that can beat us when we take care of the football, which we turned it over early against them. But if we don't if we don't turn the ball over and we keep 15 upright, I just don't think the Eagles are going to go put up 30 points on us. I really don't.
I mean, well, coming off the game that they just did, because Washington has a pretty good defense. They're like Hurts, and what's one of those things like anything else? He's playing his best football right now.
For sure.
And it was our best offensive output as well. And it was he had his best game. And like I said, he's got weapons. A.J. Brown's a dog.
Devontae Smith is a dog.
Go Derrick.
What is his name? Goddard?
Goddard's legit. He's legit.
Bro, I was just going through stuff, you know, and I sent stuff on text messages to you. But this is something that I've looked at, and I just kind of sit there and chuckle because you guys, we went for 50 years without a Super Bowl. And I look right here, and it's something CBS Sports set out on the most Super Bowl victories of all time.
Yeah.
So right now, the Chiefs are in a tie for third with Green Bay and the Giants with 4 Super Bowl wins. The Cowboys and Niners have 5. The Steelers and Patriots have 6. Think about this for a minute.
Yeah.
Think about this. This is in the history of the NFL. For 50 years, we went on a 50-year drought with no Super Bowls. And now you go and sit there and look and go, okay, all the great Steeler teams, all the great 49er teams, all the great Cowboy teams, all the great Packer teams. And I'm thinking like, oh, they've got all this stuff stacked up. And I see this pop up and I'm like, so we're at 4. Mahomes is 29. We're at 4. Sure. We're at 4 Super Bowl wins. We win on Sunday, and we go to 5 where we're tied with the Cowboys and Niners and only 1 behind the Steelers and Patriots. I would go and put my house on the market that says before Mahomes is done, we have more than 6 titles.
Yeah, I mean,
we're at 4. We're at 4 now.
But that's hard to say. A lot of things and a lot of guys have lined up, and we've had, you know, Tyreek Hill, who's the first ballot Hall of Famer. We've had Travis Kelce, who's the greatest tight end to ever play the game. He's had guys that were Chris Jones, Hall of Famer. So yeah, I mean, you would think yes, but nothing is.
I'm not saying
nothing is guaranteed.
If I were to bet money right now,
it's an absolutely it's a monumental game that separates yourself and puts you in the elite of the elite when you get. Because no one's ever done it. So you're already right there in history. But it's like one of those things like when back in the day, in the 90s, the Cowboys were that. And look how long ago that was.
Yeah.
But you look back at that era. So good Lord willing, when my little girls are in their like, they're in there, they could look back at that Chiefs era that we were on. Like it was one of the greatest runs ever. And the Cowboys had that run where they were just Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. Like think about the teams in sports that have three-peated. Like recently in 20 Lakers, Yankees, and I think that's it. I mean, I think.
When was the last time the Yankees three-peated?
In the 90s, late or early 2000s. Okay. They won 3 in a row. Like, but yeah, I mean, so it's one of those things. Like to me, like yes.
I mean, when you look at that, does that not just floor you?
It's crazy. Yeah,
we had a 50-year drought, and to think that we're at 4, and obviously if they lose on Sunday, it's going to be devastating in a lot of different ways. Because you're gonna start losing pieces to your team.
Sure,
you're gonna start losing guys. Not to say that this team's like gonna be done, but you go lose this game, God, you've lost a chance at the three-peat. Which that will
never happen again.
But that's what I'm saying.
Not gonna happen. They will not. I will
so
promise
that's probably the last opportunity you have at a three-peat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just one of those things where, gosh, Sunday we can make history. If Sunday we can make history, man. And we can share that with our dad after all the years of what he's been through, what we've been through, of all the 50 years. I mean, bro, people used to laugh at us. I forgot what it was. I was driving a guy the other day, and we were talking about Chiefs tickets back in the 70s, we were talking about earlier. And we had talked about, this guy said, man, he goes, if you left 4 tickets to a Chiefs game on someone's window back in the day, you'd allow them to come back the next day and find them things on the ground, man.
No, 100%. I mean, 100%. So, I mean, it's one of those things, just like I said, to you, like, messaging, I was like, the AFC Championship game was the biggest AFC Championship game to date. Like, that last one. And this is, to me, is the biggest Super Bowl to date. Like
the viewership, wasn't it? It was the most watched AFC Championship
what it means to me personally as a fan, what this Super Bowl means personally to me as a fan. And it's not like the season's a failure, but it's kind of it's not a failure, but it's a disappointment because AFC West titles, do they even make hats for that shit anymore?
Yeah, I wore it last week.
Oh, did you?
Sure.
Like, I don't even make AFC West.
See what I get, man? I get Hollywood over here dissing on my hats, man. I wore it last week, man.
I just don't even know if they make that shit anymore. Man. Like, why would you buy one? Who cares?
Why would I buy one?
AFC West, that's like,
listen, if you went and saw my room right now and every hat, every Super Bowl, every AFC Championship T-shirt.
No, AFC Championship, I'm just saying AFC West.
I know, AFC West. I've got all the AFC West hats too.
I'm like, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, and it's not, but when you set your goal out and you hear Mahomes and them say, we want 3, it will be so disappointing. Not it's a bad season or it's a bullshit season, but it's like we have to get this, man. We have to get this.
This is going to be huge, brother. Like I said, this whole week is going to be so tough. Just again, man, trying to get sleep, trying to, you
better eat them gummies, dog. You better double up on those things.
I'm gonna need to have one of the next couple of nights. We've kind of been fighting the old cold at the house, so we kind of been down last couple of days. But I told my wife, I told Jess, I said, it's better that we have it now and be ready to go come next weekend.
Absolutely.
So thank God 100%. It came at the end of after those 2 big weekends we had at home. Hey, listen,
let's take a little break.
We're going to take a little break real quick, man, and then we're going to come back. And I just got a text message. I text so many guys did.
Sure.
And there's just so many moving pieces with everybody. I talked to B Flowers, and his kids had practice, and there's different things going on with different guys, and guys like, hey, I can't come on. And so anyway, Derrick Johnson, who's always one of our favorites here. He was our very first guest we ever had on, and will be someone you'll see a lot of times popping by when he's here in town. But he's going to pop on. DJ's going to call in, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl.
Perfect.
Hey guys, thanks so much to our sponsors who give us the opportunity to be able to bring you a show every week with our production team and stuff. So shout out to our sponsors. Our main one, who's kind of our home resident sponsor, Proactive Solutions. Dean and Natalie Thede over there. Thank you guys for what you guys do. So we'd like to thank Proactive Solutions. It's been delivering infrastructure solutions and IT design and consultation services to clients ranging from startups to Fortune 100 companies for more than 27 years. They are proud to be a Kansas City locally owned and top woman-owned business, offering custom solutions and personalized support. If your company needs IT solutions, reach out to Proactive Solutions at www.proactivesolutions.com. So thank you, Natalie and Dean, for allowing us to do what we do and continuing our sponsorship for the season. Also, we'd like to thank Lula Southern Cookhouse. Lula Southern Cookhouse at 1617 Main. Bradley and Brittany Gilmore do an awesome job here. I know they're events-based. They've been doing some parties during the Chiefs playoffs. But please come and check out their brunch. Go to their website and check out Lula's. Their brunch is fantastic on Sundays. Check their menu out. Great people. They have a great event space up here that allows us to shoot our show. So again, thank you to Lula's Southern Cookhouse, Bradley and Brittany Gilmore, and thank you to Proactive Solutions. All right, bro. So we're going to get back into this. Here in a few minutes, we're going to have Derrick Johnson calling in. There's some things we were just kind of talking about, just offset for a minute, of what we want to kind of get into. I mean, this Eagles team, bro, the more and more you take a look at what they did and what they did to Washington, it's scary. I mean, Saquon Barkley, I've seen enough Eagles games to know, because, you know, our family, my wife's family is from Philadelphia, so there's plenty of Eagle fans on that side, and we'll get into all that later on, because that's going to be a hoot the rest of this week going at it with them. But so I watch enough Eagles games, and Jessica still likes to peek at the Eagles games when Chiefs aren't on. Sure. But dude, 24-46 for Barkley, and then 442 during the playoffs. You guys run for almost 3,000 yards this year.
He's an absolute.
How do you stop Saquon?
Well, he's an absolute. He's an absolute monster, obviously, and I mean that. Like I said, that's kind of where the game will lie. If we can, he's going to get his, but it's kind of one of those things that he can't run wild. He can't get a 60-yarder in the second quarter and break back. He cannot. I mean, we've allowed. With running backs, we haven't allowed since Christmas Day last year with the Raiders have a 100-yard rusher. So Lamar, a QB, ran opening night. I think he had over 100 on us. But Spags will be ready. We've had 2 weeks. And I mean, once again, they're not going to smoke and mirrors, and they're not going to give him the ball and put it in his hands 20 to 25 times that day in the pass game and or run game. So that's it. I mean, and then, those guys, they're studs, AJ and Devontae and those guys, they understand it's kind of Saquon's team, and that
was what we just saw when we kind of took a break, guys. We were looking at, not to cut you off, bro, the NFL Network. That's kind of what AJ Brown was saying right now, right? During media night, was it's kind of Saquon's team, and we just try to filter around what, what he does.
It's a smart thing to do. I mean, you're not going to take away from, and also on that, Edelman talked about good running backs, great running backs, and generational running backs. And Saquon's a generational running back.
For sure.
I mean, he's in that Eric Dickerson, Barry Sanders, Emmitt. I mean, he's in that category. And just some of his highlights this year that you see him doing, it's like, holy shit. They implemented that jump in the Madden game.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did. I swear to God. Yes,
so if you're playing with Philly, he'll do it?
I guess, you got to do that, like hit this button at the same time. Whatever,
hit the button, throw it off the wall, and then hit 25 times.
But no, it's going to be, it's their toughest test. And, for me, I'll get a little bit more nervous, a little bit more doubtful as, tomorrow's Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'll have us convinced that we don't have a chance by Saturday.
I'm telling you right now, listen, I love you and you're my brother and we do this stuff and I love you, bro, and that's why we started this podcast. I would say right now between you and I, we'll have a few more conversations. Today's Monday. We'll have a few more conversations Tuesday. We'll have some conversations Wednesday. I would say by Thursday, Friday at the latest, I'll start shutting you off. Because I can't listen to you. Because by Friday, you'll have me convinced that we don't have a chance of winning on Sunday.
Yeah, and I just, so my thing is I go down these rabbit holes and I can't sleep as is. So I go to these rabbit holes at night and start reading shit and I'm like, fuck, we don't have a chance. I mean, And so I know we do. I know, and we'll have to play our best game, have to play better. We will not be able to have a turnover against Philly, and we're going to have to score.
You can't turn the ball over,
We're
man.
going to have to score with them and keep up, because I think they're going to score points. If they score 30, I don't know that, but they're going to score points. They're going to run the ball. And what they're not going to do, and that dipshit Sirianni is not going to take it out of Saquon's hands if they go down 7 or if they go down 10 and start passing and let Jalen do it. No. He's not going to do that.
He'll stay with Saquon. He'll stay with Saquon.
And that's the problem that kind of scares me.
I just still think, bro. I've watched enough of the Eagles play this year, and I said, you know what? And here's what'll happen between now and Sunday. Is now I'll go back, just because I recorded it. I'll go back now and I'll watch. I want to watch the Washington Eagles game, because I want to see everything that happened. And as I started to watch a little bit of it,
Washington turned the ball.
They turned the ball over a ton. That's what one of the announcers was like during the game, that Washington turned the ball over a bunch. And that just goes to say, first thing we come out of the chute saying, keep Mahomes upright, can't turn the ball over. You lay the ball on the turf or you throw picks, you're not winning. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter.
And in addition to, they kind of, Philly handled themselves kind of like the Chiefs did last year in Baltimore, where there was some extracurricular, and CJ Johnson, or whatever his name, that safety,
CJ Gardner Johnson.
Yeah. He started mixing up and getting, they had flags thrown on Washington because they were pushing after the play and so he kind of trolled them into that shit. So they kind of played with that composure of being there before, because they have been there before. Right. And Washington is an organization, obviously, with Daniels, they're going to be there and they're not going anywhere. Right. But it's one of those things. If you haven't really played in it, it's faster. There's a lot more stuff going on. And if you have guys like that who can kind of get under your skin and give you a little push, give you a little yank, it pisses you off, especially if you're down. Then you start chirping, then you start kind of losing that focus. And that's something I saw Philadelphia kind of put on the Commanders. So I think it's all of the dog and pony, and it's who holds the composure, who doesn't turn the ball over, we'll win. But I said, if Saquon goes crazy and he has 176 we don't win. We don't win, because they'll take the ball away from Mahomes and just kill it.
To me, that's Philly's only chance, though. Philly's only chance is play good defense and run the ball as much as they can, eat as much of the clock, and keep 15 on that sideline as long as you can. I mean, that's not, I think any of our guys are not diss anybody, but I think that'd be Theo's game plan. I think that'd be Quinn's game plan. I think Devin and Dylan would do the same thing. Philadelphia, run the ball, play good defense, don't turn it over, and you'll beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I'll take all your guys' money if you guys want to bet that, though, anyway. But that's what they're telling them. Sirianni's like, we're going to pound the ball. We're going to run it, slow it down, keep Mahomes off the field, and win this game. And I just don't, I don't know, man. This team, and it's not about destiny. It's not about, they're just so dialed in. And it's like, I saw a great quote from, who was it on ESPN? And it was one of the older guys, one of the older coaches. Oh, it was Belichick. And Belichick says, guys like Mahomes, guys like Brady, money doesn't motivate them. Money doesn't motivate them. What motivates these guys is not even the GOAT conversation, because that's something that obviously started with Brady. But Belichick's like, guys like Brady and guys like Mahomes, it's not the money that motivates them. It's doing things that nobody else has ever done before. Having that legacy, having people look back and be like, wow, one of the greatest ever.
Sure.
And so it's a great point. And I think with 15, it's not about the money. It's not about the commercials. It's not about all this stuff. 15 wants to put more. He wants more rings. And him and Kelsey talked about stacking rings in Kansas City.
And I'll be interested tonight, for me personally, when I get home, to watch the media night and see what and how their demeanor is during this time around, and what they're, if it's a little bit more play, if it's a little bit more, if it's all business, if it's like, and not that to say no one wins that, like, no Super Bowls are won on media night, but just where they are mentally and exciting to see some of the guys that never been there, their eyes light up. And, it's a crazy stat is that draft class, which is what a lot of people consider the greatest in the history of the Chiefs, they'll be 3 for 3 going to Super Bowls. It's kind of one of those things like you just retire after that.
No,
that's unheard of, man.
I mean, our boy George, shout out to our boy George, 56. Go get you another sack in this deal. George, McDuffie,
Najee Johnson, Pacheco.
But Najee Johnson was the 10th pick. Yeah. But you had Pacheco at 7. You had Jalen Watson. Who else is in that class?
Joshua Williams.
Joshua Williams is in that class. But that class, this is the third Super Bowl they've been to in a row.
Yeah, that's all they've known, all they've done. So that's crazy to me. That's absolutely nuts. And there's obviously so many, stats, going into it. We don't have a stat guy sitting over there like feeding us in our, earpiece right now, but it's still crazy.
We will though. Love You Bro podcast. We'll get to a point where we got guys like Quinn, we got guys like Theo feeding us stuff off the deal. We're going to build this thing up. Really quick, just thinking about that. We want to make sure everybody out there is following us on Instagram, following us on TikTok. Please go to our YouTube page and subscribe as we build our subscribers, and helps us to hopefully gather more sponsors, man, and continue bringing this great show to you on, throughout 25.
And speaking of this, this run, there's a rumor that there may be a Rob Riggle.
Yeah, man, we're hoping, man. We've reached out to some people that are in that
which would be so classic.
Yeah, man, we're hoping, man. I don't want to go over promise and under deliver, but we have
rumor. We
have reached out to Rob Riggle's camp, and hopefully we'll get Riggle on here pretty soon, man. Those guys are busy, and time permitted, all those guys, but we have a list of guys we've reached out to that have said like, yeah, we'll come on. So we have some people that are working on that to reach out. So so hopefully we'll get Riggle on the show.
And before DJ comes on, because I want to ask DJ, because being a native of Waco, I gotta ask him about my boy's fleece of all fleeces, and that fight that night we were watching Benavides. That was a badass fight. Yeah, but my phone goes off and it's Shams that said trade, and I was like, bullshit. Shams was hacked. I call a nephew and he's just laughing. I'm like, this is bullshit, right? It's hacked. Because that shit that happened, the trade, it's one of the biggest trades in the history of the NBA of like, and a lot I people, because that was 10:30, 11 at night.
It was after the fight, because after the fight was over. A lot of people
on the East Coast were in bed. I mean, they were sleeping. I mean, that's like, that to wake up and say, hey, Theo was saying, he's like, man, I was asleep. I woke up to 190 messages. That was like, holy shit. And it's like, man, we just got
Luka to the Lakers, bro. That's crazy. Ooh. And I'm not. I mean, I'm more of a Lakers fan. I'm more of a Lakers fan because you've been a diehard Lakers fan for a long time. But I mean, back in the day, for sure, Kobe was my all-time.
Yeah.
I mean,
brother Bob started me. So I was telling you, I was telling him, is he would, because you were the Lakers or Celtics in the 80s, because they were on TV with Dick Stockton and Hubie Brown. Like those guys,
Lakers.
It was just, that's how it was. When I remember one of the first shoes I got was the Converse Weapon. Yeah. And you could get the black Larry Birds or I got Magic. And
I wore some of the black Larry Birds, but I also had the Magic ones up.
But it was,
those things were heavy. Horrible,
no, man. For sure. But it just, that's a crazy trade, man. And the whole sports world is shook. And it's hilarious because they were showing like people's reaction on the Suns bench. And D-Book was like, D-Book thought it was for Luka Garza. Nothing against Garza.
No, Luka Garza, bro.
He was like, Luka Garza. So it's a monumental, trade that's like, as a Laker fan, diehard, through and through. I'm like, I cannot believe we got a 25-year-old superstar who's a face of the NBA who gets to go play with LeBron. And anybody that knows LeBron takes care of his body will get Luka, in that mindset of
don't bring it up to 15. 15 ain't happy, bro.
I know. So his tweet was like, wait, what? And so, but so many, everyone's reaction was the same. They're like, no, man, this can't happen.
Yeah. I don't think 15 will be back to a Mavs game because Luka's his boy. Yeah. They're boys, man.
No,
they're boys.
For sure.
Hey, let's take just a quick break real quick. And then we come back. We'll bring Derrick Johnson.
Bring Dejon.
Let's go. Okay, man. Welcome our guy, our very first guest we ever brought on, man. But we know you're gonna be a regular as we keep doing this. Mr. Derrick Johnson out of Austin, Texas. DJ, thanks for coming on, bro.
What up, Deej?
Hey, appreciate it for having me. How y'all doing?
Man, we're good, bro. We're back for another Super Bowl, man. You see these smiles on here, man. We see these smiles.
Man, it seems like this is a regular. This is what we do, right?
Man.
Like, and we got a lot of. It's crazy. We got so many haters, man. It's freaking ridiculous, man. But you know what they say? If you ain't doing nothing, you ain't got no haters. So we're doing good.
Hey, DJ, we used to say back in the day, right? If people were talking about you, they were noticing you, right? No matter what you're doing.
Yep.
If they were talking, if they were talking about Derrick Johnson, it was because you were doing something good. You were doing something good out there because they was watching 56.
Right. You know, and for me, DJ, like I said, I embrace it. I like all the hate. I like all the bullshit. I like all the extra chatter because it's just jealousy. You know, when you're doing something no one has had the opportunity to do after winning back-to-back, going to a third Super Bowl and what we're doing. And from the ref talk. And so what's funny to me is we're living in people's head rent-free. The Bills are still talking about it this week, about a call that happened almost 2 weeks ago. So it's crazy. It's crazy to me. But when you hear guys like yourself, and obviously you're a Chief for life, but when you hear guys who played the game like Edelman, coaches that played, like, it's not rigged. These guys make plays. They're better coached. They're better. It's a narrative it's low picking fruit. People like to grab.
Yeah, man, that's a great point. Let me set the record straight. It is not rigged. I played for 13, 14 years. Listen, if it was any kind of rig, goodness gracious, man, I got the short end of it. But I tell you what, man, when of course we got this great dynasty going with the Chiefs right now, and during the time that New England was doing it, a lot of haters about New England and whatnot. And of course, they had some things come up where they were cheating and they were doing a bunch of stuff. They have to blame it on something, man.
Sure, yeah.
We don't have that. We don't have that. There's so many plays in a game. There's over, there's probably over 60, 70 plays in a game. And the one play you got to call out and say, oh, they're trying to. If you can't, if you have to do that, that tells me that you're worrying about the wrong thing. It's more about worrying about how to beat the Chiefs. We're in the This is our third time in a row going to the Super Bowl. That's big time. We're about to do something that nobody's ever been done in the history of NFL, and that's go for a three-peat. Man, that's something to be celebrated instead of somebody trying to down what this dynasty is. Like, come on, man. Yeah. Andy Reid and what he's done with this organization, it's ridiculous. In a great way.
DJ, to talk about just this a little bit, then I want to get away from that because I'm so excited about this weekend. I know you are, Jamie is. We got some good stuff to talk about, and there's some questions we want to ask you from a defensive side of the ball. But one of the things we talked about a couple of weeks ago on our show, DeMeco Ryan, I love what they're doing with the Houston Texans. I love the squad. I love C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson Jr. Those guys are big-time kids that are going to be superstars, that are superstars in this league. But DeMeco Ryan came out on his beginning of his press conference, and the first thing he said was, I told the guys from the get-go, from jump, we weren't going to get a call in here. Calls were going to go against us, this, that, and the other. And I thought, man, you're the head coach, bro. I like what you do, but you're better than that, man. You're telling your guys already you're going to go in there. You're not going to get the calls, and you're going to get stuff thrown against you. And it's like, come on, man. I think you could be a better leader than that as far as what he's doing. And I think that leads into some of the stuff with the kids, obviously following their leader and what he said. But did you see any of that with DeMeco did you see any of his press stuff?
Yeah, I actually heard about it, and DeMeco's a guy that I played with during that time, and got a lot of respect for him. Love what he's doing in Houston now, but everybody's falling victim to the Chiefs standard. Chiefs are a standard, and you have to tell your guys this narrative just so they don't make excuses about the referees during this time, and hopefully that was his mindset with telling his guys that. But when you tell the media that kind of lets everybody know what you're thinking about. Right. And when you're thinking about the referees, trust me, I played this game long enough. If you think about referees, man, you missed it.
And you know what, DJ? So the week before, which I'd never seen in sports, and had it been different, but you watch the referee go to the sideline and talk to Josh Allen on the bench, which I've never seen. I never saw Jordan. I never saw official go to Jordan, never go to the bench and talk to Kobe, LeBron, any of the greats. I've never seen that in sports. And the fact that that didn't get as much, because that would be front page news, page 6 news, start off, all the talking shows on ESPN. If the referee would have been on the sideline talking to Patrick about how he missed a call or didn't miss a call, so it's different to me, but it's something I've never seen. Have you ever seen that, DJ?
Not in football. No, football. we don't talk to the referees. That's just not what happens, and they don't talk to us. There's always saying before you play the games, let the referees play, and they're gonna you have to play well enough that it doesn't matter what they do. I'm going to execute my plays
sure.
and make that play that we need to make to win the game. But football and basketball is much different. Yeah, I've seen that before, and that's crazy how you talk to players and all that stuff. Not the NFL. No, we got helmets on for a reason, and we're locked in, and or referees perfect,
sure.
There's plenty. Trust me, there's plenty of things in that game and other games throughout the year where you're like, man, that's wrong. That's a wrong call against us. Like, why would you do that? But we still find a way to win,
sure,
and that's what we do.
Yeah. Hey, DJ, let's switch directions a little bit, because we were so excited to have you on, because we've been talking earlier about this Philadelphia Eagles team and how dynamic they are. I know you from a linebacker position. You right now, if you were in this locker room right now, would be licking your chops, because I know you would love trying to break down that running game and what Saquon Barkley's done. That Eagles offensive line is one of the best in the game. But how do you think Spags, how do you think the Chiefs defense, how do they attack that? Because I saw Washington try to stack some people in the box, and then they get beat on some stuff because they got to go one-on-one outside. What do you think, just on your knowledge of your game and all your years experience, what do you think Spags right now is kind of telling that defensive unit, or what their game plan looks like?
Well, I'm glad Spags is our defensive coordinator. If anybody can figure something out with this explosive Philadelphia offense, it would be Spags, because he's got a way into disguising and being exotic. But in order to do that, you have to stop the run. You can't not stop the run, and then you have third and short, third and manageable.
Yes.
And they still got their whole playbook to play from. You want to earn the right to rush the passer, meaning being able to stop the run. Now, you say, man, Saquon Barkley, he's pretty good, right?
Yes.
But I tell you what, being able to bring enough people in the box and win your one-on-ones, and being able to have the safeties and the corners be involved in the running game, because there are going to be times where all the gaps are going to be plugged when it comes to Drew Tranquil, when it comes to Nick Bolton in the middle, when it comes to Chanel, when it comes to Chris Jones and all these guys that they do their job on the inside. A lot of times they don't block the outside guys or the safeties or the cornerbacks. So they're going to have a great opportunity to show their worth against Saquon Barkley. And it's not about one guy bringing him down. You got to get everybody around him. I played against really, really great running backs like Shady McCoy or LaDainian Thompson, somebody like that, or Adrian Peterson. It's not about one guy. One guy may get ran over at times or may get juked, but when you play good team defense, the other guy is coming with his head on fire, trying to make the play when his guy happens to miss the tackle because of a great talent like Saquon Barkley. But again, we may have some one-on-ones on the outside and some 50-50 balls up in the air, but I believe we can make those, but we got to stop the run. I would rather them have a lot of success throwing the ball, running the ball. We can't do it, because that opens up everything. If you open the running game, it's just it's gonna be a long night.
Yeah, and I was telling Jude earlier, Deej, I'm like, for me, I go in what you touched on. We got to put them in second and sevens, second and nines, third and nines, because they're not as efficient in that third and long or second and long. They're efficient in that short third and 2, second and 3. They do a really great job. And I told Jude, I said, to me, Jalen's a great quarterback, and he's got 2 dogs out wide with Devontae and AJ. But I would rather see him beat you than just get it pushed down your throat with AJ and him having to make little dink and dunks and then hit over the top and finish with 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Saquon goes.
No, we don't.
We don't. Yeah, Saquon goes for 170.
Because if that happens, then now we're desperate. Now we're trying to do other stuff, and we bring in more people in the box. And now the play action works. Now the boot works. Now it's like, golly, we're just opening up everything.
Sure. And one thing, DJ, I get your opinion on this. So one thing I heard today, which makes a lot of sense, is that you hope to start the game with like just running your core D, not bringing a lot of run blitzes, not doing a lot of stuff first. Keep that in your back pocket to see if you, because you have that in your hip pocket, bringing people up. Try to see if you, like you said, when you're one on bells, if Pinnell's a good run stopper, Wharton's been tough, and Chanel, if you can do that and fluster them and take them off their game, and then if you need to start to bring that stuff up, but try to win. Do you think that that's something that Spags will try to do, or you think anything's in play, everything's in play, or how do you see that, DJ?
Oh, man, that's so it's like in the NFL, it's all about matchups, and it's definitely not checkers, it's definitely chess, and he will not show his hand early, but he will show some different fronts and different looks early, but I don't think he's going to go crazy exotic and start doing that whole thing, because when you have a really great prolific running team, you can't be moving all around, because you gotta be gap sound, especially when you got a quarterback that can run. It's kind of like playing against, not quite, but kind of like playing against the Ravens, where you can have design runs and you can have different things by the quarterback position. That makes it that much harder to stop the run when the quarterback is involved. So, man, we're gonna have our hands full, but now you can't just stop everything. This offense is really, really good. Just like our offense. Yeah. Like they can't stop everything. It's just one of those things. Down the stretch, the different adjustments that we're going to have to come across is going to have to be straight on. And I tell you what, it's going to come down to a couple plays. Right. It's going to be like that Buffalo and Chief game. It's going to be, that's just how it is, because both teams, the parity is so close between them. Right. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very fun. They're actually, I think Philly is probably a little bit better than what they were when they played them a few years ago. I think they're a little bit better. But again, man, we played a lot of football this year. We beat everybody, man. Yeah. We beat everybody.
Yeah. DJ, one of the interesting things I told Jamie, we're huge pro football focused guys. So we love reading that and seeing the stats and seeing stuff. They were saying that the Chiefs, under their defense, their secondary was number 1 and lowest amount of missed tackles, which I think is huge in this game, because, as you know, when you're playing not just the D-line linebackers, but your secondary's got to be able to tackle, especially someone like Barkley.
So that's a great point, Jude. I've always noticed this about the Chiefs. I watch them every single game, and their DBs they're tough and they're smart and they tackle. I don't care who it is. I don't care what guys are out there. 22-6,
21,
30, 21, 30. Everybody 20. Yeah. Like everybody tackles. Like every single person in their DB room can tackle and tackle in space. That's a whole nother beast when you have to tackle in space. So my hat's off to him, man.
Yeah, like I said, that was one of the biggest stats that popped out to me, DJ, when I saw that. Cynthia Freeland, and shout out to her at Pro Football Focus. She does some stuff with the radio stations here, but I love listening to her work. And that was one of the things she pointed out. I told Jamie, I said, think about that. You said earlier, our D-backs, they can tackle in open space, which is huge, trying to contain a running back like Saquon Barkley.
So, Deej, are you pulling up to New Orleans for the game, or are you staying home?
You know what? For the game, I'm gonna go up for the festivities for a couple of days, I think. But not for. I don't know about for the game yet. I just love to be in my house watching that game, dude. Right. I don't have to shake hands, kiss babies. I'm in it. I'm pausing it. I'm seeing all this stuff. I'm coaching from the couch, so it's gonna be great.
Do you get nervous, DJ, when you're watching as a fan? Like, do you get nervous?
I don't know about nervous. I'm more anxious. Because, man, I played this game so long, and it still gets my blood boiling when I turn on the TV when the Chiefs are playing, especially Super Bowl big games like this. So I'm gonna be. I put the kids to bed. Wifey just lets me focus in.
Sure. I love watching some of Brittany's social media when she shows you watching the game, because he's up, he's rewinding stuff, going back and looking at the film. He's up, kind of moving around. I love watching that. Hey, just a couple more things to touch on before we let you go, DJ. We know you're busy. We appreciate you taking time out. Two things I want to touch on. One, how excited are you for Xavier Worthy being a UT
Oh my
kid?
goodness, I'm so excited, man. Obviously everybody knows I live in Austin now since I retired. And don't get me wrong, I got this UT stuff on, but I only wear Chiefs or UT. That's all I wear. So don't get it twisted. I have all my Chiefs gear all the time. But man, I'm excited, man, to have. It just tells you the character of this team to bring along a rookie, right? A first round rookie. Yeah. A lot of rookies don't have success their first year, man. And with how fast he is and just what he can do with his speed and being a decoy or not being a decoy, being a reverse guy, being a jet guy, he's set into this offense really, really great. And having guys like Hopkins and having guys like Juju just put their arm around, hey man, we got you. We got you, young guy. And Pat, man, he's no better way and no better. He's not. You can't find a better teammate than him and Kelsey and those guys to bring him along. And he doesn't have that much pressure, right? You got other guys that can handle that pressure for him. And Andy Reid is a freaking wizard when it comes to just moving pieces around, and Xavier's his little toy when it comes to his offensive genius on the football field.
And watching it, what's been exciting for me, Deej, is seeing him expand his route. He can run all the routes. And that catch he came down in Buffalo, it was a catch. It's a big time catch for a rookie. If you have a 10-year veteran, 8-year veteran that's a dog, that was a big time catch. And now you see him running all the routes on the tree and running them with success. And you see how much 15 has confidence in him, which is huge.
Jamie, that's so true. At the beginning of the year, you would see them try to throw deep balls to him. Like everybody knew that, right? Xavier being so fast, but now he's running all the routes. Like he runs his outs and individual routes on the side. He runs across the middles at times. There you go. He runs across the middle at times, and he does reverses. He does all of them. Spot route, whatever, curl routes, whatever you want to do with him, he can do it. And he's growing in this offense. That's what you want to see from a rookie. And just, man, his numbers are, he's done probably better than I thought he would. I thought he'd be a good player. I didn't know he was all right, this first year, you are a big time receiver for us.
Yeah. He's a great young man. Him and his family, man. I've had some time to spend a little bit of time around him, and just a great kid and his family. Hey, right before we let you go, today, Dad's 93rd birthday, man. So we're gonna celebrate Pops on Sunday. He didn't want to celebrate this weekend. He said, I want to wait till Sunday and celebrate. So the whole family will be over the house. We'll watch the game together and celebrate Dad's 93rd birthday.
Man, I am jealous now. That's what I'm jealous of, man. I tell you what, Man, Jude and Jamie, y'all dads, man, he's awesome, man. I remember your dad. I mean, this was probably 10 years ago, but he's always like, feel that right there. You know, he's like,
that's Pops.
Man, he's got a great soul about him, and when you're around wisdom like that, you try to soak it in. So, man, every birthday he has, it's a blessing.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Yes,
Amen,
sir.
DJ.
Hey, Deej, we're going to let you go, man. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and taking some time out for us.
Love y'all.
Hey, listen, you know you're always going to be an open door, an open guest, and we're always going to reach out to you for different things during the season, even not during the season. So the door's always open to come on set, dial in, whatever. We love you, man, so much.
Love you,
and thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank y'all, my brother. Thank you.
Let's go, Chiefs.
Right,
Let's go, Chiefs.
Yes,
all right, thanks, Deej.